What's up, you guys, and welcome to Motherhood is Wild podcast. I'm your host, Jaylina, and this is officially episode 6, which is pretty exciting. I do want to go over a few things. Last time, or on my last episode, I talked about having my mom on as a guest, which is still going to happen, but there are a few things happening in my personal life, which you guys will find out, or actually you probably already know this, maybe. I don't know. If you don't already know, then head over to my boyfriend Isaac's channel, A Bus Life Story, and watch the latest video to find out why my life has been so hectic that it's been hard for me to keep up with having a guest on every week. So with that being said, for now, and at least until the baby gets here and I can find more time and a better routine, I'm going to cut back to just a normal episode every week with just me. And then every first Sunday of the month will be a guest, or maybe every first Friday. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. Anyways, just stay tuned. And you know, we'll get a guest in there every now and then. But my mom will be my next guest. So I am excited about that. On my last video, Isaac was doing some work outside and I could hear it, and I was afraid that it would disrupt the podcast, but a lot of you said you couldn't hear it, so that's great news. He is working today on whatever, on that big project that you guys will see on his channel. And he has some friends over to help. So if you do happen to hear any background noise, I apologize in advance. This is kind of a construction zone. Even behind me right now, it's just a major construction zone. My bus that I am currently sitting in is so close to being finished, and I'm super, super excited about that. I think that's everything that I wanted to talk about. Again, I have some really awesome merch. If you guys want to check it out, that's linked in the description below. And as always, if you came to the podcast just to check out the podcast and you are new to me, I do have another channel, or I have my main YouTube channel called Leave Her Wild. If you guys are interested and want to check that out, I started in van life and I moved into bus life, and I started building this bus, and but somewhere in between that journey, I wound up meeting an awesome person, and we are now having a baby. So that's going to be thrown into the mix as well. And this bus is almost done. So pretty crazy, pretty exciting stuff going on there. Anyways, let's jump right into today's episode. So I wanted to talk about the third trimester changes now that I'm in the third trimester. These are some things that I was not necessarily expecting. I didn't know what to expect in my third trimester. This is my first pregnancy, and things change big time. So the only thing that I did hear about the going into your third trimester is that your symptoms from your first trimester can come back full force. So nausea, tiredness, anything that you had in the first trimester can come back in the third trimester. And I have experienced that, but it's a little bit different. It's not like the first trimester at all. I mean, I guess it is, but it's not. So the nausea has come back, but it's different. It's not like it was the first time. In the first trimester, my nausea was just like constant. All the time. I just felt like I was going to throw up. It didn't matter if I ate anything or if I didn't eat anything. Nothing helped. Nothing made it worse. It just was what it was. And I was just constantly nauseous, which wasn't fun, but it is common. And fortunately for me, I didn't actually throw up at any point. I just felt like I was going to. So it doesn't sound great, but it could be worse, I guess. That being said, in my third trimester, the nausea has come back, but it's different. So by that, I mean, it's not constant. It comes and it goes. And there are, I don't know, it's like, I guess I'm hungrier. So that's another thing, is that I'm extra hungry now. And so I'm having to eat. I try not to eat full meals anymore. I just try and eat like every few hours. because I get hungry every few hours no matter what I eat. So instead of consuming like a ton of extra calories by eating my normal big meals plus a bunch of snacks, I have cut back on eating big meals like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And now I eat like, something smaller for breakfast, which is I guess my breakfast is pretty normal, because usually I would just eat like a bowl of cereal or a bowl of oatmeal, but that's just not enough for me anymore. So I'll still eat that in the morning for breakfast, but then I'll have like a banana for a snack, or a Cliff Bar, or something, or like a fruit cup, those things in between breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then we've been eating like a salad for lunch, or like a frozen meal for dinner. We're trying to eat as healthy as possible, but then I do have to have a snack in between all my meals, or that nausea just comes kicking me in the face. And the only other time that I get nauseous now is when I brush my teeth, which didn't happen in the first trimester. So now every time I brush my teeth, I just want to get it over with. I hope that I don't throw up and it goes away when I'm done brushing my teeth, which I've heard other people talk about, but it didn't happen for me in the first trimester, but it has happened for me in the third trimester, but I haven't yet actually puked. It just feels like I'm going to. So that's where I'm at on the nausea. Speaking of, I'm feeling a little bit nauseous now, but I should probably... Well, I did eat. So the friends that Isaac has over that are helping with this project, they brought donuts, and I hadn't eaten breakfast yet, and I gave in and I ate a donut. So I did eat that, but I feel like I'm still like I should eat a banana or something. So I'll probably do that once this is done. Nausea, come back. Not necessarily full force, but yes, full force in a different manner. And then I did mention the hunger. So that was another thing that in the first trimester, I wasn't, super hungry all the time or anything. But now I'm just so hungry pretty much constantly. I have to eat pretty frequently. So I just try and keep it healthy. But yeah, hunger was a big change that definitely hit me. I don't normally eat a whole lot as a person. I have obviously been eating a little bit more now that I'm pregnant. But it's like I'm just so hungry. When I'm hungry, I'm hungry. When I eat, I'm fine for a little while. And then a couple hours later, I'm like, I need to eat again. So that's just another thing. I'm just really hungry all the time. Okay, moving on. So I had my doctor's appointment last week, which I had mentioned before on my channel, Leave Her Wild. And in that video, I just talked about going to the doctor. I didn't even talk about how it went. So if I did, I have like in a live chat, I think, or, mentioned it in upcoming videos, or my last video. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm confused at this point. Pregnancy brain. That has been a thing this whole time. Nothing has changed about that in the third trimester. Maybe it has gotten worse. I don't know. Anyways, what was I saying? I really don't remember what I was saying now. Oh, doctor's appointment. So yeah, I went to the doctor's. I went for my glucose test thing that they do to make sure, or to see whether or not you have gestational diabetes. And I was like looking it up online, like what all they're going to do. And like it was supposed to be this whole thing. And I was like, I don't know if I'm confused or they're not doing it right. I don't know what's going on. And turns out I was doing the screening, like the pre-screening for that test to see if I even need to take it in the first place. So I still had to drink that sugary drink, and then they wait however long, and then they draw your blood. And if your levels are above or are 40 or above, 140 or above, then you have to take the other test where they like test your blood every 2 to 3 hours or something crazy like that. And then they updated their system or something at where I go. And so I have like an app or something that they send me an email. You have an update on your chart, and I can go look at all of my stats, everything. The doctor can go make notes in there that I can read, and it's really, really cool. So they don't have to call me or anything. They can, and I can call them if I need to, but everything is just right there. as soon as it's posted, like as soon as they get it back, it's all online. So that's really, really cool. Do you see how much shortness of breath that I have just talking to you guys? That is totally normal. I'm gonna talk about that after I get done talking about my doctor's visit. So anyways, the doctor, I checked all my stuff. All my levels came back completely normal. I think out of like I said, you have to get to 140 to test for the gestational diabetes. My levels were like 120. So great on everything. I was a little low on iron. So now I am taking iron supplements along with my prenatal vitamins. That's the only thing that changed, which wasn't a big thing for me. I was anemic in high school, and I do believe that I had to take vitamins back then for a long time. I used to bruise really easy. I was tired all the time, and which it basically is low iron. I was vegetarian for a couple of years in high school too, so maybe that's why. I'm not sure. And as a high school kid and vegetarian, I don't think I was eating bad, but I definitely probably wasn't getting all the vitamins that I could have been getting or should have been getting around that age. But that didn't last. It was only a couple of years, and I'm still kicking. My health is really great, aside from the low iron right now. But yeah, so that's an update on the doctor's visit. So 3rd trimester update, doctor's visit. I think the first week of my 3rd trimester was that. Okay, so as you can tell, I'm very much out of breath. That is something that has changed drastically in the 3rd trimester. I feel like I've always been a little bit short of breath throughout this whole pregnancy, which has never been a concern. It's still not a concern to the doctors. It's totally normal. But now that the baby's getting bigger, obviously, and she's going to grow so much this trimester, I'm sorry, if they say sit up straight, make sure you sit up straight. It gives your lungs more room to expand because because the baby is pushing on your lungs and other organs, and as she grows, your shortness of breath will get even worse the farther along that you go. And I notice I'm probably talking pretty quickly and not taking in as much oxygen as I probably should because I'm just speaking. So shortness of breath for me has been definite, and it has definitely intensified in this trimester, and I can only imagine it's going to get worse. So I just need to remember to sit up straight, give Ember a little bit more room, and give my lungs a little bit more room to expand and get all that oxygen in there. Just slow down a little bit when it comes to talking. Take some breaths every now and then. So yeah, that's something that I didn't write down in my list of things to talk about, but it was just, I felt it in the moment and I had to address it because it's so intense. It feels, now that I'm sitting up straight, it feels a little bit better. So I do think that makes a big difference. Sitting up straight and giving your body that little bit of extra room to do what it needs to do while you have a little baby inside of you. So let's see. I am tired. My first trimester, I was constantly exhausted, and this 3rd trimester, I'm definitely more tired than I was in my 2nd trimester. I definitely did get that big boost of energy that you get in the 2nd trimester. But going into the 3rd trimester, I am getting just more tired. And I mean, as the baby grows, I guess that's expected because your body is doing so much. The baby will grow so much this trimester to get ready for birth. And really and truly, she can come anytime between now and my due date. And so I'm trying not to push myself too hard. Isaac has been helping me with the projects that I've had. Even if I could do it by myself, like the closet, he was there with me every step of the way to help, which I appreciate. And so I'm definitely not pushing myself too hard, but I'm just doing what I can. And everything is just getting harder to do. Another thing that I don't think I did write it down. So I just have lots of sharp pains. I am now at the point where if I lean over to the front, I get like sharp pains in my lower abdomen where I guess my ovaries would be. And also just sometimes I get cramps that kind of feel like your cramps would feel when you're like about to start your period. And so I've been trying really hard to really not push myself again. Like I'm trying to just do what I can, but also paying a lot of attention to how my body's reacting to what I'm doing. And so like I'm not doing anything where I have to bend over because that causes sharp pains, and I don't know what that necessarily means. It's not super painful, but I'm not going to keep doing something that is causing my body to feel that way. So yeah, I am having some sharp pains and stuff, but I think that's normal because my body is getting ready and it's preparing itself for childbirth. So yeah, just trying to take it easy on that front. I am having more fake contractions, the Braxton Hicks, and they're not terrible. They come they're very random. They're not very often, but when they do come, they don't last long. They are super painful, but I feel like it kind of prepares you mentally because like you kind of know what to expect. It's like, okay, when the baby's going to be ready to come, this is what it's going to feel like, but it's going to feel like this very like they'll be closer, the contractions will be closer together and they will last longer. So preparing myself for that. Ember has been so much more active this last trimester. We're going into the second week of my third trimester now. Actually, maybe the third week, I'm not sure. When actually some people say like your third trimester starts at 28 weeks. Some people say 29 weeks, and I'm like mid 29 weeks. So she's been super active. I feel her kick all the time, and it's a really cool feeling. It's definitely been an easier part of my pregnancy. This last trimester, I feel like mentally it's easier for me. I don't know if it's because I know that we're coming up to the end of it and I'm just really excited for that and I'm ready and I know it's going to hurt and I know it's going to be a whole experience. It's an experience that I am ready for. I'm so excited to meet my little girl, to hold her, to just show her the world and get to know her outside of my tummy. So I think a lot of women not that I don't cherish the pregnancy. I think a lot of people really enjoy being pregnant because they feel like that's a closeness that, you know, you only get when you're pregnant. For me, and everyone's different. For me, I don't necessarily feel that way, I guess. I feel like my bond's going to be closer when I can hold her. It hasn't been something that I think is, you know, extraordinary for our relationship to be pregnant with her. I don't know if that sounds right or not, but that's just how I feel. You know, some people don't bond with their babies right away. I don't know if those women who talk about how their bond, it didn't come until like later on, like when the baby was months old, if they felt a connection while they were pregnant. I don't know how I'm going to react when she actually gets here. I I do feel a bond with her completely, but I feel like it's more of a spiritual bond, if that makes sense to anybody but me. And it's not because I'm pregnant. I think it's just because I feel like I know her already. Like, I feel like I just have this really strong emotional connection with her already, and it has nothing to do with me being pregnant. It's just, that's my daughter, and I'm really excited to meet her. And I just want to see her face, and I want to hold her, and I want to kiss her, and I want to feel her little toes and her little fingers and just her soft skin and her hair, and look in her eyes. And like, I'm going to have to stop, or I'm going to start crying. But it for me, that's where the connection lies, is in the emotion and not necessarily in the physical, I don't know what to call it. Just the fact that I'm pregnant. That physical part. There's not the physical connection in the pregnancy. It's more so an emotional connection in general. So that wasn't something I was going to talk about, but it just kind of came about. Let's see. Oh, I did put feeling more bonded, so I guess that kind of covers that. I do feel more of a bond with her as the days approach to the due date than I have this entire pregnancy, aside from, I think, like the first day I found out I was pregnant, and I knew in that moment that it was a girl, and I really felt like I felt her. In that moment, I felt very bonded with her as well. So I told you guys I had a donut, and now I have heartburn. Another thing that has intensified in the 3rd trimester is heartburn. Not everything that I eat makes me have heartburn, but a lot of things do. And they don't even have to be similar, but they do. One thing, and I think obviously it's probably citrusy stuff, but like yesterday I ate a salad, didn't get heartburn, but I could eat like a pepperoni Hot Pocket and get massive heartburn. Those donuts gave me heartburn. 2 very different things. So it really depends on what I eat, but I have been getting heartburn more often, and it's not super terrible, but it is uncomfortable. And I have never had heartburn. I don't think, maybe like one time before I was pregnant, and now I have it pretty often. And so it's something that I'm not used to, and it is pretty uncomfortable, but it is what it is. It's not going to last. Hopefully it doesn't continue when she comes. I'm hoping it doesn't, but hopefully it doesn't last, 10 more weeks and then we're done. So that's another thing, is just, she's moving weird. Sometimes she moves and it's uncomfortable. That was painful. Oh my goodness. Oh, sorry. I was not prepared for that. She's like kicking me, "Mom, shut up. I'm trying to sleep." I don't even know what I was talking about. Heartburn? Oh, I think. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't last. Restless leg syndrome is something that is very common in the 3rd trimester. I've actually battled with restless leg syndrome my entire life. Sorry, she's like still kind of moving, and I'm just like trying to prepare myself for the pain if it hurts. I used to spend the night at friend's house, and I would wake up in the middle of the night just in excruciating pain, tears, can't sleep, and it just lasts all night. The only thing that could help is like taking ibuprofen or aspirin or something. And so like all my friends' parents always made sure that they had, ibuprofen on hand for me, and my mom and stuff too. And it's something that just happened all my life. And then I guess just a couple of years ago, it kind of quit happening as frequently to almost none at all. And so that was really, really nice. And now it's come back, but it's not necessarily like it was back then, where I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would have restless legs. It's more of it happens during the day. It's weird. That's never happened for me. Like right now they're kind of hurting, but sometimes it gets real bad and I have to take Tylenol, and I try not to take any medication outside of whatever, is approved. I guess I'm saying that wrong. I try not to take any aspirin because you're only supposed to take Tylenol when you're pregnant, and I just try not to take it if I can help it. But there are some times where the restless leg syndrome is so bad that I just have to take a Tylenol. So that's been not new for me. Well, I guess it is new for me, like it happening during the day, but it's not something that I haven't experienced throughout my whole life. And let's see. So my hips, as you get throughout the whole pregnancy, your hips slowly separate and they widen, and they're getting ready for you. They're preparing your body for childbirth. So I can definitely tell in this 3rd trimester, my body feels different, and I can feel it in my hips that things are changing. And you feel it in your walk, you feel it like in the way that you sleep. So I can definitely, that's been a major change for me. And just, I'm very, very attentive to my body and the way that it's reacting to just everything in general. And so that's something that I've noticed. And that because of the hips widening, that is something that it's affected my sleep. I can only sleep on, you are literally like only supposed to sleep on your left side when you're pregnant because it helps with blood flow. You're not supposed to sleep on your back because of the weight of the baby will not crush, but it will put a strain on your organs because, she's going to be sitting on them. But yeah, you're not supposed to sleep on your back. Obviously, you're not supposed to sleep on your stomach. And the reason they say don't sleep on your right side is because it cuts off circulation to your heart, or at least it makes it difficult for blood flow to get to your heart. So they say only sleep on your left side. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be very transparent here. I try my best to sleep on my left side, but it can get really painful. It hurts so bad. So pretty much throughout the entire night, I get up to pee multiple times, like a lot. And I would say probably 5 or 6 times I'll get up to go pee. And every time I get up, I switch sides. And I'll roll over too, throughout the night, but I make it a point to switch sides every time I get up to go pee. So that way I'm not on one side for too long, or I'm not on my right side for too long, I should say, because it doesn't matter how long you're on your left side, because that's what they want you to be on, is your left side. So I can definitely feel it in my hips. I have a bruise on one of my hips, and Isaac was like, "Where'd that come from?" And I was like, "I don't know, probably from sleeping," because my hips, even right now, they are just aching. And I know that it's because they're slowly spreading apart. I know it's because I'm sleeping on my hips. And I have this Japanese folding futon floor mattress. And it's very firm. And I know that I could not sleep on it pregnant, having to sleep on my sides. I have an 8-inch memory foam mattress that we're sleeping on right now. And it is... Even then, I love my bed. It's so comfortable, but even then, it's still my hips are just in so much pain. So that's just something that I've been enduring and just looking forward to healing from once the baby actually comes. I'm definitely mentally prepared to have the baby, and I'm mentally prepared to heal from the baby. I'm a lot more emotional now than I have been this entire pregnancy. I am a very emotional person in general. I'm very, very in touch with my emotions, and it used to be something that I was not necessarily ashamed of, I would say, but I didn't take pride in it because I've been told by people that, "Oh, you're so intense." It was a bad thing. And I feel like now as an adult, looking back, it's not that I was intense. It's just that I think I was a little bit more mature than some of the people in my past who have said those things to me and kind of cut me down and belittled me for just understanding my emotions and holding the way that I felt so high. And now I'm very, very proud of being that emotional person, being in touch with my emotions and being able to communicate that and standing up for myself and knowing my value. And I think because of the things that were said to me in the past, I didn't do that. I didn't know how to value myself, especially that aspect of myself. And so it being such a huge part of my life and who I am, I was like kind of terrified of being pregnant because they say that, there she goes again. They, oh my goodness. They say that your emotions are pretty intense when you're pregnant. So I was like, her movements are getting so much more intensified too. Like I can feel them a lot more. Ooh. It's crazy. She's definitely losing space in there as she grows and gets bigger. Yeah, so I was afraid that I was going to be like extremely emotional to where I was going to be crying all the time. I was going to be a mess. Isaac has been really, really good with just how I am in general. I don't feel like I'm as emotional now that I have been in the past. And I was talking to my mom about this. I feel like there's a lot of, I don't know. I feel like there's been a lot of change in me in the last, I guess since I've met Isaac. And we were talking and I was like, I feel like I'm just not stressed all the time and I'm actually happy. And I think that that's made such a big difference in who I am as a person within a relationship. And so he's been really good with how I am emotionally. If I have a day, because there has been days where I just like I'm really emotional and I will cry for whatever reason, and he doesn't he makes it very obvious that if I need an ear, he's there to listen. If I need to talk, he's there to talk. But if he can't help me, he will sit there and he will just hold me, and just to know that he's there. And so that's really special to me. That's something I've never had before. And I do not take that for granted. And I appreciate him so much for that. And again, if I continue talking, I'm going to cry. So yeah, I am more emotional now than I have been in this whole pregnancy. So I was not as emotional as I thought I was going to be throughout this entire thing. And in this third trimester going into it, I'm definitely a little bit more emotional, which is fine. It's not too bad. I don't like randomly cry or like go crazy. I've heard some stories, some pretty wild ones. It's more so like if I'm watching a TV show, it'll hit me. Like if it's like, I've been watching This Is Us, I've cried a few times, but that show usually gets me every time. And then of course, if like I talk about stuff like, that I have a lot of feelings and passion for, that'll get me going as well. But it's never, I don't want to say never, I don't want to jinx it, but it hasn't been like something that's been overwhelming or too much lately going into the third trimester and being more emotional. It's just I'm feeling my feelings a little bit more intensely, I would say. So those are all the big major changes that I have noticed in myself in this last trimester. And those are all things that I didn't experience until the third trimester. So yeah, big changes. And especially her moving around so much more. Like even now she's really active, and I wonder if it has to do with the fact that I'm talking so much, because she's probably not used to me talking for long periods of time. And yeah, so oh my goodness. She's kicking me again. Yeah, she's definitely starting to, it's always been more of movement up until recently, and especially today. Like it's more intense today than it has ever been of her kicking. And so a lot of other people are like, oh, just wait till she starts kicking. It gets painful. There's only been a couple of times where she's kicked and it was painful. But within this last, however long it's been for this episode, the last, 20 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, she's been very active in kicking and stuff. So I don't know what you're wanting, Ember. Are you trying to fight your way out of there? Because I will totally approve on that. No, she's still got some cooking to do. I actually have a friend who posted on Facebook. She had her baby 10 weeks early. That's like if Isaac and I had Ember right now. So we never know. We never know what's going to happen. So I'm a little bit nervous to fly to Dallas next month. I'm like right before you're supposed to stop flying being pregnant is like, once we get back, like that's the point where you're not supposed to fly anymore. So I wanted to, go back to Texas in May. I have a lot of friends who are having their baby showers then because they're also pregnant. And then my niece is graduating college. And it's something that I really, really wanted to do. But unfortunately, I just can't travel. I don't want to risk it. I want to make sure that, Isaac's there when the baby's born. And also his birthday is in May. And I just want to, make sure that we're together the last few weeks of the pregnancy because we don't know when she's going to come. So yeah, that's basically where I'm at right now. And so that's all the changes that have been happening in the third trimester. And I would love to hear from you guys. What changes have happened for you in the third trimester that were extremely different throughout the whole pregnancy, if any at all? I don't know. This is my only pregnancy obviously this is my first pregnancy. So I'm learning all of these things and I'm experiencing them all for the first time. I'm wondering, and I'm assuming it is different every time you go through a pregnancy. So I'm really curious to hear your guys' story as always. And if you would like to participate, if you have Facebook, I did create a Facebook group of Motherhood is Wild if you want to go join. And it's a great way for us to further the conversation, like here, if we want to talk about, third trimester changes and stuff like that and how it's been different. But also you can comment down below. That would be awesome too. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. I feel so out of breath. I need to go take a step back and just breathe a little bit before I get started for the day. And so yeah, I just want to thank you guys so much for being here. I hope that you enjoyed. And if you want to be notified for upcoming episodes, please feel free to subscribe. And I will see you guys next week.